expedited accusation calendar. This is a list of misdemeanor cases in which individuals were recently charged and booked at the Fulton County Jail. Soon after that, the prosecutor has already formally accused the defendants of one or more misdemeanor offenses. If you're a defendant so charged with a misdemeanor offense, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say during the course of these virtual proceedings, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and one of our attorneys from the Public Defender's Office will represent you. Ms. Bridgewater, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. The reset date for the SAP calendar is August the 17th.
My goodness. Okay, we're going out that far now. Okay. Seems like we just began with August.
I know.
Okay. All right, let's begin with courtroom 2. Who do we have, please? Courtroom 2, we can unmute.
Station 5, Mr. Robinson.
All right, this is Rontravius Robinson. Would that be correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Robinson, you have a right to remain silent about the facts of the case. Anything you choose to say, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you this afternoon is Ms. Kim. Mr. Howard, any priors?
I just signed on. Who are we on?
We're on position 5.
This is first adult arrest. That's
All
what
right. Okay, thank you. Miss, I'm trying to figure out who's the, Miss Namini? Miss Diamond Namini, are you the ASG? I'm sorry, we can't hear you. Could you check your audio? Maybe your speaker needs to be connected. Okay, could you do a testing 1, 2, 3?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay, can hear you loud and clear now. Thank you.
Okay.
What's the state's recommendation for Mr. Robinson?
The state. So I'm going to put the facts on the record.
Okay.
Officers, the offense happened yesterday, August 1st, after 3:20, between 3:20 and 4:16 Fairbairn Road, Southwest. Officers were working in an undercover capacity, and they observed a defendant smoking marijuana. And then they witnessed a Jeep pull up and hand defendant a rifle-style firearm. And as officers attempted to move on the defendant, he was seen leaving and fleeing the area. And officers were able to find the defendant, and then he was able to escape again. 30 minutes later, officers did find him, and he ran while holding his waistband area. There were verbal commands for defendant to stop, and they were ignored. Shortly after, officers saw defendant shoulder to shoulder with an unidentified male in an attempt to pass off the object in defendant's possession, which proved to be a Glock 19 9mm handgun, and the defendant was then detained. So the state is asking for $500 for the pedestrian in the roadway, $1,000 for count 2, willful obstruction of law enforcement officers, and for reckless conducts, the state is asking for $10,000.
Okay. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Robinson is only 18 years old, and actually he is returning back to high school. He completed up to 10th grade, and I spoke with his mother and stepfather. Stepfather is on the way to be a co-signer, so that way he can take care of him. We would like to request for signature on bond. Your Honor, he does not have a job, but he's planning to get a job, part-time job, and he does not have any drug or alcohol issues. I would like to request for signature on bond.
Okay. On the pedestrian and roadway, it's going to be $500, and that's going to be a signature bond. On the willful obstruction, that's going to be $2,500, and that's going to be a signature bond through pretrial. And on the reckless conduct, that's going to be a $2,000 surety bond. The total bond is going to be $4,500, and that's a split bond, out of which $3,000 is, did I get that right? 5,500, excuse me. It's a 5,500 split bond, out of which 3,000 is a signature bond through pretrial with a adult, well, I guess with his stepfather's cosign.
What's the name?
And we'll
His
find
name
that out.
is Terrence Maxey. I can text you. I mean, not text, chat.
Yeah, could you put the name
Put
of
it in the chat, please.
Yes, please.
to
Sure.
Miss Bridgewater and to Mr. Howard?
Okay.
I have a Sophia Robinson appearing on Zoom. Could you please mute your screen? Thank you. All right, so as I was saying, it's going to be a 5,500 split bond with the stepfather cosign. And we need to verify that Mr. Rontravius Robinson is living in the same household as Terrence Maxey.
Yes.
So I'm going to do a utility bill waiver, but
Okay.
Mr. Robinson will have to reside with his stepfather and his mother while he must continue to attend and high school. He is under a curfew. He may be out of the home from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then after that, he has to remain at home from 6 p.m. to 7 a.m. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and definitely no firearms. Thank you.
That's Maxie, M-A-X-I-E or M-A-X-E-Y?
E. M-A-X-E.
Excuse me, Judge Law, there are two wheel constructions on this, on the bookend, so there's only one on the calendar.
I saw that. Ms. Namini, are you going to NOD one of the expert charge on the obstruction?
Yes, we did NOD for
Okay, so yes, Deputy Francois, it is one count of pedestrian roadway, one count of obstruction, and one count of reckless conduct. And the second count of obstruction is going to be dismissed, is going to be removed from the docket.
And one last thing, Judge.
Yeah,
Go over those bond amounts for each charge again.
sure. Pedestrian and roadway is 500. Willful obstruction is 2,500. Those are signature bonds to pretrial with a parental cosigner. The curfew is from 6 p.m. to 7 a.m. And no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. No
Okay,
firearms.
but the reckless conduct, what was that bond amount?
2,000 surety bond. Reset date for this case is August 17th.
Gotcha.
Tell the stepdad, make sure he have a valid ID.
All right. Ms. Kim, please, if you are in contact with Mr. Maxey, let him know that he needs to bring a suitable government issue ID.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Next page,
you.
please.
Then we can do position number 8. We have Ms. Barrett, she's position number 1, and Ms. Kim, can you answer the phone?
All right, this is Mr. Miguel Wimby, accused of battery from August 2nd, 2023. Mr. Wimby, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. McLeod. Mr. Howard, any priors on Mr. Wimby?
Third arrest, last was 2022, carrying concealed weapon out of North Carolina. 2012, simple battery.
All right, just
2012,
just one second. Ms. Parisa Hajidazadeh, you would need to mute your screen, please. Thank you. All right, thank you very much.
2012, simple battery DV dismissed. That's it.
All right, but the 2022 North Carolina weapons charge, was that a disposition?
I didn't see one. Might have to go back and look, unless the state knows.
I didn't, it didn't list it, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. Ms. Mitchell, what's the state's recommendation?
Hi, Your Honor. The state's recommendation is going to be a $3,000 surety bond. No further contact with the victim, Darren, spelled D-A-R-R-I-N, Walker. A stay away from the incident location, 1587 Childress, spelled C-H-I-L-D-R-E-S-S, Drive, Southwest, Atlanta, Georgia. 1 day anger awareness and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Your Honor, according to the police report, in this case, the defendant and the victim live together, as the defendant is the victim's girlfriend's grandson. According to the police report, the defendant started an argument with the victim because he noticed some of his food items were missing. The defendant then pushed the victim to the ground, Mr. Walker to the ground, causing him to hit his head on the ground. Mr. Walker also sustained a laceration over his left eyelid, as well as a scrape and bruises on his right forearm. Officers documented Mr. Walker's injuries via body-worn camera. A witness at the location, Miss Jasmine, spelled Jasmyn Hutchins, stated that she heard what sounded like someone being hit while she was in her living room in her apartment. She then ran to the kitchen and looked through a small window and witnessed the defendant pushing Mr. Walker to the ground. She also heard the defendant yelling at Mr. Walker about the missing food from the fridge. Your Honor, based on the nature of these allegations and injury to Mr. Walker is 59 years old and the defendant is 30 years old. Based on that, we are recommending a $3,000 surety bond. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And is 30 years old. He is the father of 3 children, 10, 8, and 5. And he tells me that he lives with his grandmother because she has dementia and he helps to take care of her. He denies that he pushed this gentleman, Your Honor. He said they got into an argument because the alleged victim had agreed to pay for some food that he had bought there, and he refused to do that, and he got in an argument with my client. He denies that he pushed him, Your Honor, or caused him an injury. He said he fell of his own accord because he was being belligerent. My client does not have any significant criminal history, Your Honor, and I've asked the court to consider giving him a signature bond so that he can get out of jail. And also, I would ask the court not to issue a stay-away order. This is simply because my client lives with his grandmother, has always lived there with his grandmother, and he tells me that the alleged witness does not live there because his grandmother had already evicted him recently. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. The bond is going to be set at $2,500. That's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. Mr. Wimby will report to pretrial once a month. He's to have no further contact with Darren Walker. He's to stay away from 1587 Childress Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. He can return one time only with a police officer to remove his personal belongings. That visit cannot exceed 1 hour. Within 30 days of being released from the jail, he has to update the court with his new mailing address. No illegal drugs, no weapons, no firearms, and he's to complete a 1-day anger awareness program with the Fulton County pretrial. He may return to 1587 Childress Drive if the police officer verifies that Mr. Darren Walker no longer lives there or does not live there. But if he still lives there, then Mr. Wimby is not allowed to be in the same household. Next court date will be sent to his new address as soon as he updates us.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge.
Yes, sir. All right. Deputy Francois, am I going to the Alpharetta jail or am I staying with? Because I'm watching this gentleman grooming his hair, so you have to let me know. At some point, I'd like to address that case.
Go ahead, Alpharetta jail, position number 2.
Thank you. All right, Mr.
Your Honor, I apologize. This is the one that I requested a breakout room for image.
All right. Miss, who's doing my hosting? Miss Grace?
Ms. Grace, yes, ma'am.
Could you please, Miss Kim, Miss, I don't know who's my prosecutor. Is it going to be Miss Mitchell or Miss Namini? Miss Mitchell?
It will be Miss Namini, but can you put me in there also?
Sure.
Because I'll be the supervisor.
All right, Miss Grace, Miss Mitchell, Miss Namini, Miss Bridgewater, and myself. In a breakout, please.
Okay, Judge.
And Mr. Chesnikoff, we will be with you very shortly.
All right, yes, ma'am.
Ms. McLeod, can you answer your phone, please?
Holly, you know anything about an add-on? She got-
I don't know anything about one. Is that the person they keep asking about?
I don't know. I was talking to Michael earlier, a little while right before court started. I'll ask them when they get back.
It's supposed to be a Michael Hill to add on.
That who it is?
Yes,
Y'all already did everything?
I don't
You don't
see
know?
us my end, but I don't know did Michael do the CR manually or not.
Listen, can you ask Michael? Please. I'll go pull the file while they in the breakout.
Okay, Mr. Chesnikoff, we are going to address your case shortly. Ms. Nemini, are you still with us on the main Zoom? Ms. Nemini, with the prosecutor's office? Ms. Mitchell, we are done with your cases, right? Oh, I'm sorry, you're on mute?
We still have position 6 and 7.
Okay, Mr. Chesnikoff, we'll be back with you. Position 6 and 7, courtroom 2, do we have Shahid Spears Dingle and Bryant Wilson?
Come on, Spears.
Yeah, one of our prosecutors is having technical issues, so we're gonna wait until she joins us to resume with the rest of the calendar. And this is this Mr. Spears Dingle?
Yes, ma'am. My apologies for my suit.
All right, let's proceed. This is case number 23 CR 4752Y. Mr. Spears Dingle is accused of simple battery domestic violence from an August 2nd, 2023 incident. Mr. Spears Dingle, I'm glad you didn't continue with the conversation because I want to remind you that anything you choose to say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. And you have a right to an attorney, and Ms. Kim, J. Kim with the PD's office will be representing you. Mr. Howard, any priors with Mr. Spears Dingle?
Who?
Position number 6.
Oh, Jose. I got second arrest. Last arrest was in April. Possession of a Schedule 2 out of Gwinnett.
Disposition?
No, hold on. Spears
Oh,
Dingle.
this is not
Spears
Jose.
Dingle.
This is
Yeah, I'm tripping. My bad. Third
first
arrest.
name is Shahid.
I got it. Third arrest. Last arrest was July 2022. Criminal damage to property, 2nd degree, disorderly conduct. That's 22 CP 211043.
211043, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Ms. Mitchell, yes, what's the recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor, our recommendation is going to be $3,000 surety. No further contact with the victim, Miss Gloria Balgamire, spelled Balegamire. A stay away from the incident location, 3432 Piedmont Road, Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia. One-time law enforcement escort, third-party transfer of the child, 1-day anger awareness, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm sure you're already aware, but in this case, the defendant battered Miss Gloria by pushing her and slapping her hand during an argument. Miss Gloria's sister, Miss Chriselle, spelled Chritelle, Belgamire, is the mother of the defendant's child. All three live together. This altercation started with the defendant and Miss Chriselle getting in an argument. Miss Gloria attempted to take the child out of the room away from the argument. When the defendant saw this, he got upset. That's when he pushed Miss Gloria and slapped her hand to separate Miss Gloria and the child. The defendant then went on to state that he would, quote, smack the shit out of her and her sister, end quote. The defendant then kicked Miss Gloria's dog. Miss Chriselle told officers the exact same story as Miss Gloria. The defendant denies touching either of them. Your Honor, pretrial already stated the defendant's previous arrest for an open felony in Fulton County. In that instance, the defendant damaged the door and lock of the same residence, as in this case, by kicking it repeatedly. Miss Chriselle was the victim in that case. She was able to provide officers with threatening texts from the defendant, such as, quote, "I will kill you, bitch," end quote. Even then, Miss Chriselle stated that she didn't want to press charges against the defendant. He was given a signature bond then and told to stay away from Miss Chriselle and their residence. So he's in violation of that bond order in this instance. Our victim advocate had an opportunity to speak with Miss Gloria, the victim in this case, and she stated that she doesn't want any contact with the defendant and doesn't want him to return back to the residence. I believe she's on Zoom if Your Honor would like to sound for her. But at this time, the state is recommending the 3,000 surety because we do have concerns of his risk of reoffending and witness intimidation in this case. It's starting to look like a domestic violence cycle, and it seems to be escalating. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Belgemeyer, if you would like to address the court, you would need to unmute and start your video.
Yes,
All right, Ms. Belgemeyer, my name is Judge Lal. If you'd like to say something, may I place you under oath?
yes, ma'am.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I swear the testimony would be the truth to the best of my own.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Is your location unit number 3234?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And who's Chriselle?
She is my sister, my older sister.
And y'all still occupy the same premises?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What would you like to tell me?
Your Honor, I honestly, because I was listening, I think one day of anger management isn't going to help, because I've tried multiple times to be nice and to allow him to come back. And I had no idea that he wasn't allowed to even be near us. I guess he told my sister that the whole case was dropped, but now I'm finding out that it's still open, which is kind of hurtful. And I don't want Shaw to be in any trouble, but he needs help. He needs anger management, and he does not need to be around me or my sister. Whatever they have.
Do you share a child with him?
No.
Okay.
But
right.
the child lives with me, and for the past 2 years, I have been taking care of my sister and the child. So he's pretty much not my child, but he's pretty much part of my responsibility.
It's not your child, is it his child?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And who's the mother of that child?
My sister, Christelle.
All right. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Miss Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 28 years old, and Your Honor, he was born in New York. However, he moved to Georgia about 2019 after graduating from University of South Carolina. He has a bachelor's degree, and he's gainfully self-employed doing Uber and DoorDash. So he's not going to be qualified for public defender services. And I am representing him for the purpose of the bond hearing only. Your Honor, my client has no objection to stay away and no further contact with both of them, Gloria and Christelle. I believe my client believes that the previous case, 22 CP case, was unindicted and it was okay to contact. And he was invited to see the child. Your Honor, we would like to request for signature on bond, and yet, because of previous case, we would like to ask for a reasonable bond of $1,000 good bond. Thank you.
Thank you. The bond's going to be set at $3,500. It's going to be a surety bond. Based on the warrant and the allegations, Mr. Spears Dingles is in violation of the bond order of the felony case 22 CP 211043. He is not allowed to have any contact with Christelle Belgemeyer, and he's supposed to stay 200 yards away from 3234 Piedmont Road, or 3432. Whatever that address is at Piedmont Road where they live. So, so the bond is presently set at $3,500 surety bond. No further contact with Gloria Belgemeyer and all the occupants of that household, which will include Christelle Belgemeyer and the minor child in question. If Mr. Spears Dingle wishes to have any contact with the minor child in question, he would have to file a separate legitimation suit and get a court order to establish custody and visitation. I am not allowing him any one-time visit to that location. He's to stay 200 yards away from that location. He's not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not possess any weapons and no firearms. His next court date is going to be August 10th. Mr. Spears-Dingle, you are very much mistaken. The felony case is very active and very open. There is a pending bond order that has never been amended or changed. The fact that the case has not been indicted does not mean that the bond order is not in effect. You are required by law to stay away from that location since last year. And this particular case indicates a blatant violation of that bond order. So I wouldn't be surprised if the prosecutors are going to revisit that case in Superior Court to revoke your signature bond. Thank you.
One correction, Your Honor, the
Yes.
reset date is August 17th.
August 17th, I do beg your pardon, August 17th, yeah. Next position is position 7. We have State versus Bryant Wilson, accused of battery, domestic violence from May 29th, 2023. Mr. Wilson, your case number is 23 CR 4753Y. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Fourth arrest, 2015 was the last for a traffic offense out of Alabama.
Mhm.
Well, he had 2 arrests for a traffic offense in 2015 and a 2013 shoplifting.
When you say traffic, you mean like a traffic related, like automobile traffic, right?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Okay, I just want to make sure it's not the other kind. Okay,
No, not traffic.
not trafficking, traffic related offenses.
Yeah, just
Okay,
that's what it says. Traffic offense on the GCI.
okay, okay. Ms. Mitchell, what's your recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor, it's going to be a $3,000 surety. No further contact with the victim, Courtney, spelled Cortney Thompson. Stay away from incident location 100 6th Street, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia. 1-day anger awareness and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Your Honor, according to the police report, the defendant battered his live-in girlfriend, Miss Courtney Thompson, by grabbing and restraining her, then slapping and punching her, causing visible bruises and scratches to her chest, arms, as well as pain to her head. Your Honor, Ms. Thompson stated that the defendant got upset when she told him she didn't want to be with him anymore. When she attempted to leave the apartment, he became violent. He physically restrained her, and she screamed in an attempt to get away from him. That's when he started to punch her in the head several times. The defendant then grabbed her keys to the apartment and slapped her in the face so hard that she had ringing in her ear. After the defendant left, Ms. Thompson went down to the concierge about getting her lock changed, as she didn't feel safe and needed a police escort to grab her belongings and walk her to her car in the parking deck. And then she went to stay with her parents for a while. Your Honor, our victim advocate had an opportunity to speak with Ms. Thompson. She states that they no longer live together and that the incident location is her residence. She also stated that they've been in contact since the incident and that there's been no violence since. She also stated that she doesn't fear the defendant and still wants contact with him. Your Honor, based on these allegations and the injuries that she described, and she also mentioned how fearful she was, we are still recommending the $3,000 surety bond in this case. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, my client, Mr. Wilson, is 31 years old. He was born in Alabama. However, he's been here in Georgia for more than 8 years. He has multiple business, and he's also a physical therapist with a bachelor's degree. So he's not going to be qualified for public defender's services, and my representation is only for the bond hearing. Your Honor, my client says after that incident, which happened on May 29, about 3 months ago, my client and Courtney Thompson, they are actually still in a relationship. He refers her as a fiancée. They are planning to get married. They don't have children together. They don't live together. However, they want to have continuous contact. we would like to request for signature on bond. His previous history, there was no violence history, Your Honor.
Thank you. Bond is going to be set at $4,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. Mr. Wilson will report to pretrial once a month, once he's released on the signature bond. Upon being released, he will enroll and start a domestic violence intervention program within 60 days of being released. This is a 24-week family counseling program with specifically related to domestic violence. And he must show proof to pretrial that he has enrolled in those classes and that he's attending those classes weekly every time that he reports to pretrial. He's to have no further violent contact with, I'm so sorry, was it Courtney Smith?
Courtney, yes.
Courtney Thompson.
Yeah,
Thompson.
no further violent contact with Courtney Smith. He may return to the 1000 Northside Drive location if he still lives there. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. He will be subject to random screens for alcohol and illegal drugs by pretrial. And if he gets arrested again for anything else, or if he doesn't report to pretrial, or if he doesn't enroll in those classes, or if he tests positive for any illegal drugs or alcohol, that $4,000 signature bond will be revoked and converted to a cash bond or to a surety bond. Do you have any questions? No? Okay.
Your Honor, you mentioned no further contact or
No further violent contact.
violent contact. Okay.
And also, Your Honor, may the records reflect that her name is Courtney Thompson.
Courtney Thompson. I don't know why I'm thinking of a Courtney Smith. Okay. Courtney Thompson. Got it. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Did I get the address right? Somewhere on Northside Drive?
That is my
no.
client's address.
It's 106th Street Northeast, Atlanta. Georgia.
106th Street. Okay. So he doesn't live at Northside Drive anymore? That's the address.
He
we have
doesn't
to
live
file.
in it, Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
1000 Northside Drive.
Is that his current address or he's changed?
No, that's his current address, Your Honor.
Oh, I
But
see.
they don't live together.
Oh, understood. Thank you. All right, Ms. Namini, how are we doing on your Zoom?
Position 1, Ms. Barrett.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Namini has joined us. That's good. Thank you. We have Coralie Barrett accused of criminal trespass at somewhere on Grant Avenue. Case number is 23 CR 4751F. And this was from a July 31st, 2023 incident. Any priors, Mr.
14 total.
Repeat?
14 total.
14 total. Okay.
Resident of West Virginia.
Okay.
Last arrest was 2022 in West Virginia. Municipal code violations, 3 counts. 2021, possession of a controlled substance conviction. 2019, possession of a controlled substance obstruction conviction. 2016, possession of marijuana, failure to appear, suspended license conviction. And 2013, disturbing the peace, public intoxication conviction.
All right, thank you. Ms. Barrett, just to remind you, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of this case, your statements can and will be used against you. Your attorney is going to be Miss. Does she have to have?
Your Honor, this is actually conflict case. And I believe
Miss McLeod, are you still present?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here.
Have you had a chance to review this case or confer with Miss Barrett?
Yes, Your Honor, I have spoken with Ms. Barrett.
Okay, so I'm going to place you as attorney of record for the case, all right?
Yes, Your
Thank
Honor.
you, appreciate it, thank you. All right, and Ms. Namini, what is the state's recommendation on this trespass charge?
The state is recommending 1,000 surety bond, stay away from the location, no alcohol, drugs, weapons, or guns, and no further contact with the victim, Mr. Hollis, Mr. Clifford, Hollis.
Patterson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Was it Patterson or Hollis? I'm just wondering whether I've written everything wrong today.
Patterson.
Patterson, okay, thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 35 years old. She tells me that she was at this location because a friend of hers asked her to come and help him to clean at this location. She actually works as a cleaner. So she was just there cleaning when the police arrived and she was arrested. I would ask the court, given the nature of the crime as alleged, to give my client a signature bond so she can get out of jail and get back to work, Your Honor. She really doesn't have a lot of means to pay bond, so even a $1,000 good bond would be an effort for her to make that bond. So I would ask for a signature bond for her, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Unfortunately, because of her limited ties with the state, she doesn't qualify for a signature bond. It's going to be $1,000 surety bond to stay 200 yards away from 2981 Grant Avenue. I think it was Grant Avenue. No further contact with Clifford Patterson, and no illegal drugs, alcohol, and no weapons. Her next court date is going to be August 17th.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Is Edgar Pacheco Jose available? Courtroom 2?
Position number 3 posted bond, so we can go to operator deputy position.
Okay. Position number 3. All right, so in that case, let's do the breakout then. Ms. Nomini, Ms. Mitchell, Ms. Kim, myself, Ms. Grace, if you could proceed with the breakout.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And I think I just have to.
Tucson,
Yes,
do you see where position 3 bonded out? I don't see that.
I thought it was Pacheco who actually bonded out.
It was yesterday.
Yeah, but I'm ready to go, so I ain't really care. Hold on. I ain't gonna even lie, I'm for real. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Because he was a reset. Position 3 was a reset from yesterday, and I see he's still in jail.
Yeah. Blunt. I'll call courtroom 2.
Okay.
All right. Sheila, he reset medical for today.
I do have a question though. What about Hill? Michael Hill?
I think he's supposed to be an add-on. We still waiting on that one though. Judge number 3 is reset medical. He's not bonded out. That was another person.
Who are we talking about?
Number 3, he reset medical, not bonded out.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right.
All right, going back to Mr. Brian Chesnikoff, who is accused of battery, family violence, from August 2nd, 2023, case number 23 CR 0047560. Mr. Chesnikoff, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Ms. Kim. Based on the side conference that we've had with your attorney and the prosecutor, bond will be determined to be $3,500. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. You will be reporting to the pretrial services once a month. Once you are released on the signature bond, you are to attend and complete a 24-week domestic violence intervention program while you are out on bond. That's classes that you would have to attend and complete, and you must show proof of those class attendance to your pretrial officer. You must begin those classes within 60 days of being released, and it will be at your expense. You have to have no further violent contact with Peter Chesnikoff. In other words, there cannot be any physical or verbal altercation with Mr. Chesnikoff. And if there's any, well, then you've just written your own evite back to the jail. No consumption of any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and you're not to possess or own any firearms. Do any of your members of your family own any firearms at home? Please unmute. Alfredo Jail, please unmute.
Yes, Mr. Lawrence owns 2 pistols and he currently has a rifle being held by one of his other sons. So there are 2 firearms within the house.
Well, you cannot live in that house unless those firearms are removed. So I see the Chesnikoff family is on the Zoom. Would someone like to unmute and start your video?
Yes, I'd like to talk. Can I speak?
Who's speaking, please?
My name is Lawrence Steiner.
All right, Mr. Steiner, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
All right, and how do you know Mr. Brian Chesnikoff?
All right. I was the public defender for DeKalb County.
That's not what I asked you, sir.
No. I know Brian Chesnikoff's family.
I see.
Through my role as public defender of DeKalb County.
Understood. May I ask, I've already granted him a signature bond. I'm just inquiring as to the conditions of the bond. Do the family members at the home they live in Hopewell Road or Drive, does anyone possess or own firearms in that household?
I do. They are locked in a safe.
They have to be removed from the household.
They will be.
All right. The firearms have to be removed from the home because either the firearms go or Brian goes. It's up to them. Who do they love more? Understood?
No problem.
All right. Mr. Brian Chesnikoff was also been instructed that he would need to enroll and complete a DVIP, and he must enroll in those classes within 60 days of being released. He'll be reporting to pretrial once a month. And if he gets arrested again, if he fails to comply with the conditions, or if he doesn't report, his signature bond will be revoked. Thank you. All right. Yes, good judge. Thank you.
3,000?
3,500.
Okay. 3,500.
Courtroom 2, who do we have, please?
Question, please. Question. Larry, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Steiner.
Yes, we have resolved the problem between Brian and Peter. Peter has bipolar disorder.
Mr. Steiner, we are not going into any medical issues with anyone.
Let me say that there's, in my opinion, as a 30
Objection, Your Honor, it has nothing to do with.
There's no need for domestic violence intervention in this case.
I absolutely respect that opinion, sir, but if I'm going to allow Brian Chesnikoff, based on the allegations of the warrant, to reside under the same roof as the alleged victim, he's going to DVIP.
He will not be residing under the same roof as the alleged victim because we have arranged for a swap where Brian's half-brother, his girlfriend, and their baby will move into my house in Milton. And Peter will move in with his natural father in Athens.
All
So
right, when that happens, why don't Ms. Kim file a motion to modify the bond? He has 60 days to confirm because he has 60 days to enroll in those classes.
All right.
All right, thank you. Courtroom 2, who do we have, please?
Position 4, Mr. Parker.
Thank you. This is Eric Parker, accused of simple battery, family violence, 2 counts. Case number 23 CR 004-755E. Mr. Parker, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney will be Ms. Kim. And in this particular
Your
matter,
Honor, this is a conflict case, Your Honor.
oh, Ms. McLeod. Okay, I do beg your
Yes.
pardon. Okay, Ms. McLeod.
Yes, Your Honor, that is my case.
Sorry about that. All right. I beg your pardon, Mr. Parker. Your attorney is Ms. Maureen McLeod. And Mr. Howard, any priors on Mr. Parker?
I got first arrest.
All right. And this is his first arrest?
Yes, Your Honor, that is my understanding.
All right. News to me. But then Ms. Nemini?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened March 14th of 2022. Officers were dispatched to the location, and they met with one of the victims, Miss Sierra Parker, the defendant's sister, and she told the officers that she was harmed by the defendant. And she was at the location visiting her mother, Miss Tamala Williams, the other victim. As they were having a conversation, defendant walked over and struck the conversation with the sister, and it got heated, and defendant struck his sister, Miss Sierra Parker, on the left side of her face. And then he defendant pulled out a black handgun from his waistline and pointed it at his sister, Miss Sierra Parker, near his mother, and his mother was also present there, Miss Tamala Williams. And then he left the scene with an unknown and unidentified vehicle. The warrant actually does state that there was an active warrant for a simple assault, family violence. So the state is requesting $3,000 for the first count for simple battery and $1,000 for the second count. Stay away from the location, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, 1 day anger awareness, and no further contact with Miss Sierra Parker and Miss Tamala Williams. And I would like to sound for them if they are present.
Okay. Before I do that, is there an open felony matter, Mr. Howard? From March 14th of this
Hold on
year.
real quick, let me see. Yeah, ag assault. Let me go see what
March
his bond
14th
was.
of 2022, sorry.
Let me go see what the bond was. I'll be right back.
Okay, thank you. And Miss McLeod,
Yes, Your Honor.
what's your recommendation?
My recommendation for my client, Your Honor, he's not working. He's only 19 years old. He tells me that he lives with his sister. So the fact that he's not working.
Which sister does he live with, Sierra or Erica? I don't know whether he still has his girlfriend, Imani.
I believe he says it was Erica, but I will ask him. Which one of your sisters do you live with?
I live with Eric.
Right, I thought he lives with Erica.
The alleged victim in this case.
10,000 good, Judge.
10,000 good, okay. Yeah, it wasn't a second arrest, it was an open felony case. All right. Anything else, Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. I was just going to say that my client tells me that he had to drop out of school in the 9th grade but he's currently working to get his GED. He is not employed. He lives with his sister, Erica. So based on that, Your Honor, it seems that they obviously have reconciled with the differences they may have had in 2022. This incident allegedly happened in 2022, Your Honor.
Yes, they did. Yeah, you're right.
Year
But
ago.
more than a year ago.
And he's now living with her. So based on that and the fact that this is his first arrest, I would ask the court to consider giving him a signature bond, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes, Ms. Namini?
I just want to interject. I have Sierra Parker. I don't know. I have a Sierra Parker.
Erica Parker is the alleged victim in, let me see. I read both cases, so I just want to be sure I don't have the names. One was Sierra Parker, one was Erica Parker. Let me just go to the warrant.
It's Erica Parker.
It's Erica Parker in the simple battery, and then there is a CEAIRA Parker in the aggravated assault case. So is there a does he have two sisters or?
Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor, he does.
Oh. Bond is set at $1,000 on each count. It's a surety bond, so the total is a $2,000 surety. No further violent contact with Erica Parker. No further violent contact with Imani Johnson. He may return to, he's probably got to stay away from the felony case from 2301 Godby Road.
That is not the address that he gave me, Your Honor.
That's the address on the warrant. So do we have a different address, Ms. Nimini?
That's the address I have, Your Honor.
Yep. So he has to stay away from 2301 Godby Road in Atlanta, Georgia, and update the court with his new address once he's released on bond. Next court date is August 17th. No illegal
I have a
drugs.
different address for him, Your Honor.
I do too. I'm showing 2135.
No, 2301 is where the incident location happened last year. So if he's got a new address now, he just can't live with his sisters. He needs to find his own place. So do they live with him?
Your Honor, my understanding is that he lives with Erica.
At where? 2301 Godby Road?
No, Your Honor, it's a different
Okay.
address. It's
I
on
just
one
want him to
street.
stay away from 2301 Godby Road, the incident location. But he's to have no further violent contact with Erica and with Imani Johnson. I saw a Miss Johnson appear on Zoom. I don't know if that was this person involved here. Okay, next court date is August 17th for Mr. Parker. $2,000 surety bond. Okay, thank you, Francois. Do we have another case out there? I see a gentleman in a red shirt.
This is Mr. Michael Hill. He's been interviewed and he's been in court all day, but they wasn't on the calendar for
Do we
today.
have a jailing or booking number?
Yes, 231-2393.
And Ms. Mitchell, has the state looked at that case for accusation purposes?
Yes, Your Honor, we got it late, but I did take a look at it. And this case is going to be a felony. He has more than 3 previous shoplifting convictions. So we need a continuance so that we can get felony approval and transfer it up.
Okay, just let me see.
It's a theft by shoplifting. He took $23.96 worth of merchandise from Dollar General.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't think it is felony level, so I would like to object for the record.
Because he got 3 convictions that I counted for shoplifting.
I counted up to 5. He has 31 cycles, so I just stopped after 5.
Yeah. And he got about 2 or 3 pending. So, yeah.
When was his booking date?
They threw me.
Probably this morning or yesterday. What's the booking number, Judge?
He was booked, he's been in custody for 2 days now. Do you want to reset it to tomorrow and risk Riverside, Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor. I mean, I can't transfer it up without the DA's approval, so.
All right, and he's got a probation hold in which he's got no bond. He's got a Cobb County hold in which he's got no bond. For purposes of this warrant, I'm going to set his bond at $3,500. It's going to be a surety bond.
Is he on the calendar? I
No,
don't,
it's not. I have to do a bond order with that jailing.
oh,
number,
okay,
And I'll just send it to you.
okay, no problem.
I'll do that separately.
Okay.
All right. And stay away from all dollar stores and. Okay, if Mr. Hill would like to come forward to the chair, please. And Ms. Mitchell, it's just a simple issue of either you accuse the case as a misdemeanor shoplifting and we can revisit the case tomorrow, or you can revisit the case, or you can have the case transferred to the district attorney's office. All right, I don't know what the prosecutor plans to do. I'm just saying, but right now, he's got his charge as a misdemeanor. He's got no bond, and I'm going to set a bond because this particular charge is entitled to a bond.
Okay, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Michael Hill, my name is Judge Law. Presently, you have been arrested on a charge of theft by shoplifting from, let me see. It's a misdemeanor offense of theft by shoplifting. And if I can get the there was a warrant issued in this case, which is taking forever to get to. The warrant was issued on August 2nd, 2023. But it looks like you've been in custody. Says he's been in custody for 2 days, but the incident occurred yesterday. So August 2nd. So
Yeah, they count yesterday as a day. So
I see. Okay, so yesterday and today. Okay. So he's been charged with theft by shoplifting from 3509 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive under warrant number EW0411391. So presently you have got no bond on your misdemeanor charge. I'm going to set your bond at $3,500. It's going to be a surety bond to stay away from all Dollar General stores. And we're going to reset your case till tomorrow's C calendar, which is going to be at 2 p.m. And at that time, the state will either announce they are transferring the case to felony, to the Superior Court to be tried as a felony matter, or is going to remain with the Fulton County State Court, in which case then it will be reset to August 17th for their next preliminary matter. All right. Do you understand, Mr. Hill? All right. Okay, thank you.
That's it in courtroom 2, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, gentlemen, and we will see you sometime tomorrow, I guess. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, counsel, we're just going to go over the calendar. For position 1, Barrett is a $1,000 surety bond. Next court date is August 17th. For position 2, Chesnikoff is a $3,500 signature bond through pretrial. Position 3 is going to be reset to August 4th at 2 p.m. This is a medical reset. This is no Riverside issues. Position 4, Parker is a $2,000 surety bond. Reset date is August 17th. Position 5 is a $5,500 split bond. Reset date August 17th.
Is that amount right, Judge? Excuse me, I'm sorry.
No problem.
I have 500 on the first charge, at 2,500 on the second, and 3,000 on the third. Shouldn't that be 6,000?
No, you're right. It's 500 on the pedestrian, 2,500 on the willful obstruction, and 2,000 on the reckless. So it should be
2,000. Okay.
even 5,000.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, that one's a split bond. Reset dates August 17th. Position 6 is a $3,500 surety bond. Reset date is August 17th. Position 7 is a 4,000 signature bond for pretrial, further notice with the DBIP, and position 8 is a 2,500 signature bond for pretrial, further notice. May all our calendars look like this.
I'm gonna send you the waiver in a minute.
All right. I have someone at Alpharetta Jail. Who is that person? Alpharetta Jail, could you identify the person? Because we're done with our calendar. What's your name, sir?
My name is Nima. Nima.
Spell your name.
Nema.
All right. Is your last name Haji Zadeh?
AGLAKI.
Is your last name Haji Zadeh?
No, it's not, ma'am. It's AGLAKI. Lucky.
All right. Let's see, Ms. Mitchell, Ms. Nemine, any information about this case?
Your Honor, I have no information on this.
All right.
defendant.
Mr. Nima, if you don't mind, I need to speak to one of the officers who's standing near you.
Okay, I'm right here.
All right, hello, officer. Who am I addressing?
This is Green, civilian
Officer Green, okay. Officer Green, do you have a booking number? Well, you won't have a booking number since he's at the Alpharetta Jail. Would you have a warrant number or?
I have a booking number.
Go ahead, please.
It's 231 2398.
2398. And do you transport Mr. Nima back to the Rice Street location?
No, we're housing him here, I'm trying to keep him here as long as possible and not send him to Rice Street because of his medical reasons.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
You got booked in yesterday.
All right. Last name is Azlaki, AZLAKI. All right. Looks like, and when was he booked in at the Fulton County Jail? At the Alpharetta Jail, I beg your
I'm
pardon.
sorry. The problem was he was booked in last night at 11, a little bit after 11.
Okay.
And it looked like one of my booking operator didn't add him onto the calendar until 6 this morning.
All right, he's charged with battery, domestic violence. Mr. Azlaki, first of all, I want to remind you that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and presently we have Ms. Kim with the Public Defender's Office who can speak with you, and we do have a booking package. The warrant was issued on January 9th. Okay,
This is a first arrest, FYI.
thank you.
And he's only 18 years old.
Yeah. All right, Officer Green, may I, let me see. Okay, Miss Grace, can we stop the live stream and the recording, please?
Okay.
All right, I have a Kizzy Anderson on the Zoom. Could you